Hello everyone, it's Gabriella from Per La Victoire, and today we're going to take a look at an original Victorian chemise and nightgown in my collection. And what is so special about them is they were actually made as a set, a matching set, over 150 years ago, and they remain together all these years later. We're going to be taking a look at some of the intricate details that make these pieces so special, so stay tuned. Now, if you do ever find yourself in possession of antique textiles, it's very important to be extremely careful with them. You'll never know how brittle or delicate the textile may be, and you don't want to accidentally tear or damage the textile anyway. So be sure to have extremely clean hands, freshly washed hands. I also don't like to have any jewelry or nail polish or anything that can snag or smudge the garment. Some people suggest wearing cotton gloves to touch antique garments, but then there's another school of thought that suggests that wearing the cotton gloves actually reduces the control and the finesse with which you can touch and manipulate the textiles, so you could accidentally cause harm by having the gloves on your hands. So I think it's just very important. Have very clean hands, nothing else that can possibly stain or damage the textile in any way. And I do store these antique garments carefully wrapped up in acid-free tissue paper, folded inside an acid-free box that I keep underneath my bed, away from dust, dirt, and exposure to light. It's very important. Some textiles are very sensitive to exposure to light, and even as I'm filming this, they're not getting direct sunlight. Actually, the only source of light now as I'm filming is a window in the next room. I've opened the doors and I've just tinkered with the blinds to let a little bit of light stream in, and then the rest of the room is totally dark. That way I'm not exposing the garments to potentially harmful UV rays in these few moments that I have taken them out to play. It appears that the chemise and nightgown are made from finely woven but opaque linen. I believe this set dates to the 1850s or 60s. I couldn't find any identical examples from the time period, but these extant chemises share similar elements, like the tatted lace trim, puffed sleeves, and lace-trimmed yoke. Let's start by looking at the chemise. Its most distinctive feature is the 1/4 inch wide yoke, which is decorated with intricate drawn thread work that connects the yoke to a narrow 1/4 inch wide band of fabric. That band of fabric is trimmed in delicate tatted lace. The body of the chemise has been gauged or cartridge pleated into the yoke. The stitching is so fine that it is difficult to distinguish if it has been made by machine or by hand. There are 4 gussets in the body of the chemise, between the body and sleeves. They contribute to the curved shape of the neckline. There is no evidence of a closure, no buttonhole, no pinpricks. Perhaps the tight fit of the corset kept the chemise securely on its wearer, or perhaps this set was made but sadly never worn. The top part of the placket is 7/16 of an inch wide, and the under placket has been narrow hemmed to 1/8 of an inch. The plackets overlap to create pleats. I'll include a link down below to a tutorial for making chemise plackets this way. The placket is also decorated in tatted lace. The hem is 1¼ inches deep. It's been sewn with nearly invisible whip stitches. The total hem circumference is 70 inches. The side seams of the chemise take advantage of the tightly woven selvage edge, and just like you'll find in 18th century shifts, the selvage edges have been butted together and whip stitched to form the side seams. Selvage to selvage, the linen fabric is about 35 inches wide. The chemise is 36 inches long, measured from the yoke to the hemline. This chemise has very charming puffed sleeves, whose fullness has been gauged into the yoke and sleeve bands. Each sleeve is made of one piece of fabric, which has been joined at the underarm with a scant 1/8 of an inch flat felled seam. The seam has been felled down by hand. Just like the yoke, the sleeve bands are decorated with drawn threadwork and tatted lace. At its widest, the circumference of the sleeve is 37 inches. The circumference of the sleeve band is 11 inches. The sleeves are sewn with 1/8 of an inch flat felled seams to the body of the chemise. I was very pleased to see that this chemise has an underarm facing, just like the chemise I made recently from the Simplicity 2890 pattern. The facing is one piece of fabric that is 3½ inches wide and 6½ inches tall. It has been flat felled with hand-sewn stitches to the body of the chemise. Now, let's take a look at the matching nightgown. The yoke of the nightgown is decorated with an elaborate arrangement of pintucks, drawn threadwork, and tatted lace. The pintucks are stitched in groups of 4 on the front of the yoke and in groups of 5 on the back of the yoke. The pintucks face towards the center front and center back of the yoke. It appears that the yoke has been top-stitched onto the body of the nightgown, but the front and back yoke have actually just been back-stitched together with the raw edges whip-stitched. The dropped shoulders of the nightgown echo the dropped shoulders in dresses of the mid-19th century, and tatted lace has been attached to the edges of the yoke. Narrow piping has been inserted between the sleeves and the body of the nightgown. Just like on its sister chemise, the nightgown has facings under the sleeves. The facings are cut on the cross and are about 1 inch wide. They've been whip-stitched onto the garment. The sleeves are 21 inches long and 25.5 inches wide. They are gathered into cuffs that are 7.5 inches wide. Interestingly, the cuffs lack a closure. The sleeve seam is sewn with a running stitch and the raw edges were overcast with a whip stitch. The sleeve placket has been simply narrow hemmed. The hem of the nightgown is 2¼ inches deep and is sewn with whip stitches so small that it is difficult to see them with the naked eye. The hem circumference is 100.5 inches. Like the chemise, the side seams take advantage of the selvages of the fabric, and from the distance between the side seams, we can determine that the original fabric was 34 inches wide. The side fronts of the nightgown are 33¼ inches wide. The nightgown fastens with 14 1/4 inch wide buttons down the front. Each buttonhole, made by hand, measures 1/2 inch wide. Plackets are just over 1 inch wide. The nightgown is 54 inches long from shoulder to hem. The collar is constructed with the same arrangement of fabric bands, drawn threadwork, and tatting that we saw on the neckline of the chemise. There is a name written faintly in pen at the back of the collar, but it has faded beyond recognition. We can also see that some of the threads which hold the tatting to the collar band have broken. I actually acquired this antique nightgown and chemise set on Facebook Marketplace for $10. $10. Sometimes it's worth it to just keep an eye out. You may not always find what you're looking for in the moment, but just keeping some search terms in your rotation on auction sites, eBay, Etsy, Facebook Marketplace, may turn up something eventually that is just perfect for studying. While these garments aren't perfect by any means, they have tears, stains, the lace tatting is coming apart in some locations. They're still so amazing to study because they're a matching set. I mean, how rare is it to have a matching set survive together after all of these years? Please let me know down below in the comments area what is the most interesting thing you've learned from looking at antique clothing. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.